Hey, this is Terry Farrell of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and I'm here to invite you to join me and the Inglorious Treksperts as we go on the ultimate road trek, visiting the most iconic Star Trek locations ever filmed. We'll share fun facts about scenes that were filmed there, their incredible Hollywood histories. We may even fight a gorn or two along the way. We have many special guests from Star Trek movies and series. You can reserve your copy of this epic new documentary on Blu-ray or DVD, along with a gaggle of intergalactic rewards, such as Ernie, the Pet Vasquez Rock, limited edition collector pins, cool sci-fi swag, autographs, of course, and so much more by going to makethetrek.com and supporting us as we boldly go to the greatest Star Trek locations ever filmed. Go to makethetrek.com and let's see what's out there. Engage.
Well, the Treksperts got a secret, but I'm not sure we should share it. What do you think, Darren?
Why wouldn't we share it? What good is a secret if you don't tell anyone?
Well, I guess, as they say in Star Trek, you grow stronger through the sharing.
Well, I guess, but...
I mean, yeah, if you lift, bro.
I mean, that's sort of the reason we're doing this promo, isn't it?
Ashley, you can't keep a secret. What's going on?
Well, what I heard was that from August 1st to 4th, we're going to be in Las Vegas for the Creation Entertainment Star Trek Las Vegas show, and that we might be programming 4 days of programming on a really big stage. But that's
not correct. That's not correct, because it's not that we might be. We are doing 4 days of exclusive programming at Star Trek Las Vegas, August 1st through the 4th, full of inglorious Treksperts goodness. We're bringing in over 50 guests, over 30 panels, spectacular tributes from TOS to the newest era of Star Trek. You have no idea what to expect, and I can promise you it'll be the greatest Trekication you've ever gotten.
Oh my God. You and the Trekication thing. Forget all you know or think you know. Well,
it sounds like a plethora of programming.
It'll be like when Nomad re-educated Uhura. It's going to be spectacular. Right. You're going to be mainlining Star Trek all weekend. You're going to want to bring a colostomy bag to the panel because you won't want to miss one thing.
I think we went a little far. That really is where Nomad has gone before.
Don't, it's not too far. Wherever you are in the world, you could be in Burkina Faso. You're going to want to come to Star Trek Las Vegas to see the Treksperts stage as we join Creation Entertainment to bring you a spectacular tribute to Star Trek and maybe a few Trek-adjacent subjects as well. So don't miss the Treksperts at Star Trek Las Vegas, August 1st through the 4th. Go to creationent.com for more information. And while you're at it, join the Treksperts on the road as we make our way to San Jose, August 16th to the 18th at another great GalaxyCon. We'll be at Nightmare Weekend in Des Moines, September 27th through 29th, and back in Richmond, October 11th through the 13th. So join the Treksperts as they hit the road, Jack. You don't want to miss any of these fantastic, inglorious Treksperts events.
Join us.
Won't you?
Please.
Hey, this is Mark A. Altman, and welcome to the new episode of the 4:30 movie, The Don is Dead Week, Donald Sutherland Week. And once again, we're here with all your favorite 4:30 movie hosts. It's Mr. Monday, Stephen Melching.
Hello there.
On Tuesday, you sound like Boom Boom Washington from Welcome Back. I didn't realize Donald Sutherland.
Hi there.
What's happening?
Mr. Cocktail.
I don't have to be in the 4:30 movie this week. Signed, Melching's mother.
Darren Doctorman, Mr. Tuesday.
Hello there.
Now Alec Guinness is on the show. What is going on? On Wednesday, it's Ashley Edward Miller.
Hello there.
Hello. And on Thursday, it's me, Mark A. Altman. And obviously, this is a very solemn week. We've lost one of America's finest, Canada's finest actors.
I'm a Canadian.
He's a Canadian.
Don't get scared. It was Donald Sutherland. So, we want to commemorate the work of this incredible actor. Just a fantastic thespian whose work we've loved and admired. And of course, we'll be curating an all new fantasy theme week of films starring or featuring Donald Sutherland. Before we do that, I want to say, don't be jealous, but I went to an amazing restaurant without you guys this last week.
You went to the Big Apple.
I did. I was in the Big Apple. And I went to original
City that never
Italian.
sleeps.
It doesn't.
That toddling town.
I forgot how
it's
great
not the
New York
toddling
is.
town.
At Chicago, it's toddling.
Chicago toddles.
There's no toddling in Manhattan.
It's not a toddler. It's a grown-ass adult.
In fact, if you toddle, you're going to get run right over because people are just on the move. But you know what's great? Everything's open. Like, suddenly you're like, oh, maybe I'm hungry at 10:30 at night, or I just finished at the movies and it's like midnight. Everything's open.
It's the city for people who don't plan well.
It's so great. But I went to this great
city for people who don't plan well.
It's funny because the restaurant, Original Italian, it sounds just really bland, right? Because couldn't they come up with a better title than Original Italian? But it was so good. So good. And apparently, I guess their first restaurant was Original Meats, which was a steak restaurant that apparently is very good. But I went to Original Italian, and
let me see if I can guess what you ordered.
Go ahead.
Italian food. All the appetizers.
After the appetizer, chicken parm.
Well, no, that's not quite true because they had a chicken parm pizza, which was literally a pizza of chicken parm, which I did have as one of my entrees. But they had a corn souffle, which I had as part of my appetizer, which was just amazing. It's not like at Morton's where you get like the corn, or at a steak place where you get like the cream corn. This was a corn souffle.
Souffle.
It was one of the great things I've ever eaten. I got to tell you,
fabulous.
It was
Flavorful.
That's what Ella Fitzgerald was saying when she sang that song. So wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, it's
wonderful.
souffle. It's cream souffle. So, but had great time.
Very Jerry Lewis.
Great time.
Souffle.
I had a great time in New York. Although I forgot, it's very very hot in New York. It's very hot in space.
It's hot everywhere.
It was humid, and the air conditioning did not go low enough in my hotel. I'm not going to complain about the hotel publicly because the staff that was there was very nice. The hotel itself, I have a lot of qualms with, but the staff was nice, so I'm not going to throw them under the bus, so to speak. And of course, you know where else I went when I was in New York? Rice to Riches. My favorite rice pudding dessertery.
Oh, I've never heard of it before. It sounds lovely.
Oh, it's so good. Amazing. Steve, didn't I take you there when we went to New York Comic Con?
No, I don't remember going to Rice to Riches. We went to a terrific steakhouse with your brother. It was fantastic.
Connoisseur of steaks, even whose knowledge matches equal to my own. But what kind of barbarian am I not to have taken you to Rice to Riches?
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't near where we were.
It's not, because it's down sort of like near Chinatown and Little Italy. But
I go from rice to riches.
And we were on the sort of east side, west side at the convention center for New York Comic Con. And we haven't been back since the pandemic. I don't really miss it that much. I'm like a vampire. I have to be invited, and we have not been invited, so I'm the hell with them. So anyway, but okay, this is a somber occasion. This is an actor I think we all really loved. Really terrific actor.
Someone who you kind of take for granted. He's like really kind of underappreciated and under the radar. I mean, this is a guy who has been working for over 50 years, not one Oscar nomination.
Isn't that crazy? That's really crazy.
I'm going to play devil's advocate and say it's because he does exactly the same performance for every character.
He basically plays Donald Sutherland?
He basically plays Donald Sutherland. That's not a bad thing. Right. But, he's always sort of soft-spoken, very deliberate.
Best actor of the role of Donald Sutherland is Donald Sutherland. No, I don't necessarily agree with that, but we'll get more into that as we talk about the films. Steve, is there anything you want to tell us that we need to know about this master thespian of the craft?
Well, I mean, aside from I just find it surprising that he was never, honored more with awards. He did win an Emmy and a couple of Golden Globes, and he got an honorary Oscar a few years ago, but was never nominated despite having appeared in some pretty iconic films, including a Best Picture winner. And, this is a guy, he said he's Canadian. It's funny, he was born and grew up largely in a town called St. John, New Brunswick, which I'd actually been to St. John, which is on the Bay of Fundy, right near the border with Maine.
Yeah, no rise to riches there.
No, but a seafaring coastal town. The Bay of Fundy is known for having, I think, one of the largest tides in the world. It's like a 30-foot difference between high and low tide. It's crazy.
Isn't that where Aquaman lives in the off season?
Yeah, exactly. It's right near Campobello Island where FDR lived in the off season.
Right. Where the sunrise happened.
I think that's where Barbara Streisand lived, the Prince of Tides.
Yes.
Oh. No. Am I wrong?
But, Sutherland, grew up in Canada, moved to England, and got his acting training largely in London and Scotland, and appeared in a lot of low-budget British films, including some Hammer films. He was in a film with Christopher Lee. He was on some episodes of The Saint and The Avengers on television before he broke through into films, and worked steadily ever since then, and since the late 60s, early 70s.
He's one of these guys, I think, who makes it look effortless, which is why he wasn't rewarded with the gold statuette, I think. There's certain actors where they make it so effortless and so perfect, and just they're good in everything. A good movie, a bad movie. They elevate the bad movies. They make good movies even better. And he was one of those guys, and it was really sad. And I thought that his son Kiefer wrote a beautiful homage, testimonial, eulogy to him on social the following day. Yeah. And it was really lovely, because especially in Hollywood, you always hear these kids who hate their parents, or just show so much disrespect, and they have falling outs. Look at John Voight and Angelina Jolie, but Kiefer just wrote the most beautiful testimonial to his father. I thought it was so wonderful.
Well, to be fair, he may hate his dad, but he may be such a good actor that he's able to trick us.
That's true.
That's right.
Well, he is a vampire.
But Donald Sutherland was so good at he had
having children.
He could project gravitas. He could project warmth and sensitivity. He could project intelligence. He's funny. He had a real humanity about him, I think.
Well, what I think we'll see when we talk about these movies is this is an actor who was in multiple genres: fantasy, sci-fi, drama. He did it all, and it'll be very interesting. I'm not sure what you guys are going to pick. I don't really have any guesses, other than it's probably my pick for Thursday, knowing our recent track record. I also want to point out, Bill Hunt pointed out, and I want to give a shout out to the great Bill Hunt over at Digital Bits, how great he is in the Kate Bush music video for Cloud Bursting. So
there it goes, Wednesday.
But as far as short subjects go, if you're doing a Donald Sutherland marathon, you may want to check out the Kate Bush music video, because Kate Bush was always a big sci-fi fan, and it's like this great kind of how would I describe it? It has a little sci-fi to it. It has a little of what they call these things with the industrial looking sci-fi steel. What's it called? The stuff that the real freaky sci-fi fans like.
You mean steampunk?
Steampunk, yeah. It has like a steampunk feel to it. Yeah, that
steelpunk.
Yeah. So anyway, it's really cool little video. So thank you, Bill Punt, for pointing that out. I would not have seen it otherwise. If you need to cleanse the palate of Leonard Nimoy doing the Bangles video, you can always jump into Kate Bush and cloud bursting. Okay, speaking of bursting clouds, let's hear what Steve Melching wants us to be watching on Monday.
And I also want to take a brief moment to give a shout out to our fans on Discord who had asked us if we would do a Donald Sutherland week. Had brought this up, and I saw that. We heard you. We had the same idea of wanting to shine the spotlight on Donald.
Let
Sutherland.
them take the credit for it. Let them feel special.
Right, that's right.
Yeah.
Even though we had
like
decided before that.
Steve, how do you get on the Discord?
I get on. I use my Chrome browser.
Not literally. I mean, how do you go if somebody was at home and listening?
I don't know. You
it?
use the internet. You go to I don't know. You go to Discord. You sign up. You go to the
use the Discord app.
Treksperts.
That's the easiest
Discord
way.
app.
Yeah, there's a link,
and use the link that we have in our show notes.
There you go.
Thank you, Darren. Darren had the right answer.
Go
to the show notes and click on the link, and it will take you to our Discord channel.
Join our Discord.
Where a lot of interesting
conversations. Take it there,
conversations.
you'll take it anywhere. Discord.
There's our promo right there. If you can take it there, you can take it anywhere. Ashley Edward Miller.
Yes,
Discord.
it's my philosophy of life. You can take it there, you can take it anywhere.
And I would like to say there's not a lot of Discord. People are saying very nice things about us, so that's good.
They are.
We like
There
that.
is discourse, however.
Yes.
There is discourse, a lot of discourse, and it's fascinating. And
A lot of
thank
buffers.
you. Family had a lot of buffers and a lot of interesting conversations going on. So join the conversation at Discord by checking the show notes. And now, Steve, without any further ado, what are we going to be watching on Monday?
Well, I hope that I'm going to pick a movie that is not your Thursday pick for a change.
Me too.
This was a tricky one. I picked a movie that I don't think we've talked about on the show before, and it's kind of an odd movie that doesn't fit into an easy category. So this might be the best opportunity to bring this particular movie up. I think we may have picked a couple of Sutherland movies in the past, and we may repeat those picks today because they're terrific movies. But my pick is a movie that I first saw when I was in film school. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be Darren's pick because I don't think it's Darren's cup of tea. I would conjecture that Darren may not have seen this movie, but we'll find out in a minute. It is a drama horror mystery from 1973, directed by Nicholas Roeg. It's Don't Look Now.
Mm-hmm.
They say seeing is believing. But only a split second of time separates the past from the future. The present is crushed between them. A thin thread of life in a skein of death.
Laura!
Who are you looking at? I don't know what's happening.
You are warned. Things are not what they seem. Don't look now.
What is it, Mr. Baxter? What is it you fear?
Find him. He just left. You must find him. You must warn him back. It was a warning. It was Christine. She was trying to warn us. Your life is in danger while you're in Venice.
What is it you fear? Christine is dead. She is dead.
Did she die suddenly? No! John, I wish you'd believe me. What did she say? What did she say?
She is dead.
You must find him.
Dead.
You are warned. Things are not what they seem. Don't look
It is a really fascinating movie. Nicholas Roeg, of course, was perhaps most famous for directing Performance, Walkabout, and The Man Who Fell to Earth. It was written by Alan Scott, who wrote Daryl and The Queen's Gambit, and Chris Bryant.
You forgot his most important credit.
What's that?
Planet of the Titans for Phil Kaufman, the original Star Trek film.
Oh, that's
that
right.
was not made and later became Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Well, there you go. It's based on a short story, Don't Look Now, by Daphne du Maurier, who wrote the novel of Rebecca, that the film Rebecca, the Hitchcock film Rebecca, was based on. Stars, of course, Donald Sutherland and the luminous Julie Christie, who is, you might remember from Dr. Zhivago and McCabe and Mrs. Miller. She's absolutely gorgeous and terrific in the movie.
And Heaven Can Wait.
And Heaven Can Wait.
Right.
They play a married couple whose daughter dies in a drowning accident at the beginning of the film, so no spoilers. And they go to Venice, Italy, and so it's kind of a movie about grief, about them dealing with this loss. But then there's these sort of strange genre elements that creep into it. They meet a pair of female psychics who tell them that the daughter is still with them in spirit, and the Julie Christie becomes obsessed with trying to communicate with her dead daughter. Donald Sutherland keeps thinking he sees the daughter out of the corner of his eye in Venice, and there's a serial killer killing people in Venice at the time. So it's a
what
really,
they do.
It's a really strange, kind of depressing, but kind of a thriller movie that was filmed primarily on location in Venice, and takes tremendous advantage of the location. It's beautifully filmed. It was nominated for a BAFTA for Best Cinematography by Anthony Richmond, and was also nominated for multiple other BAFTAs: Best Film, Best Director, Best Actress, Julie Christie, Best Actor, Donald Sutherland, Best Editing, and Best Soundtrack. And it's this fascinating blending of past, present, and future in Venice, and features a terrific performance by Donald Sutherland, one of his first, an early breakthrough dramatic performance.
It is a very strange mishmash of genres.
Yeah.
And you think it's going one way, and then it completely takes a right and then left turn. And yes, I have seen it. Remember, I was in Marcia Kinder's 190 class at SC.
Okay,
so
that makes
I
sense.
got exposed to many things that I may not have enjoyed. I did enjoy.
Boy, that sounds like I
I
need to talk to a therapist. Tell us more about this class, Darren.
But yes,
by the way,
that's a good pick.
I've got to say that saying that a film by Nick Roeg is really sort of strange but beautifully shot is almost redundant. But yes, that movie, dude, it is trippy as hell and unsettling. Like, and I don't want to say like, I think unpleasant is the wrong way of putting it, because it's incredibly watchable. It's not a movie you regret watching, but it's one of those movies that it haunts you kind of in the right way. And yeah, it's in some ways it's a tough watch because of how weird and unsettling it is, but only tough in that it really gets to you. It's not tough in that it's not boring. It doesn't make you angry. It's not, stupid. It's not any of those things. It's just incredibly raw.
I was going to say
for
raw,
as
yeah.
weird as it is. And, you need to be in the right mental space for it. It was actually on my my list of contenders for Wednesday. So well played.
It also features a pretty somewhat controversial and graphic sex scene in the middle that ended up being edited out and banned in some places.
Somewhat controversial sex scene in the middle. and a Nick Rogue film. That's also redundant.
Well, let's also remember that one of his first big credits was second unit cameraman on Lawrence of Arabia. Mm. So he had a history of strange sex scenes being cut out of the movie. What?
Yeah, that's a great pick. Great way to start us off. And I'm pleased to say that was not going to be my pick for Thursday, although it was certainly something I considered. But
I will say there's a terrific Criterion Collection Blu-ray edition of the movie.
Or is it Red Ray?
Red is a recurring motif in the film, Don't Look Now, along with water and people falling.
Yeah. And he was very proud of that movie. So that's, if you want to honor him, that's a great pick because he loves that movie. He loved that movie. And had very good things to say about his whole career. Okay. So that brings us to Tuesday. Who Darren graduated from this class where he was exposed to a lot of movies. And so God knows what he's going to pick. We'll find out. And Darren, if you will, what are we watching on Tuesday?
Well, this is not one of the films that was featured in the Marxist feminist class of Marcia Kinder at SC, but it is one of my favorites. It is from 1967, and it is not the war-adjacent movie that you normally would think. This is The Dirty Dozen.
Major Reisman. You are ordered by Allied command to select 12 general prisoners, convicted by courts martial and sentenced to be executed or serve lengthy prison terms for murder, rape, robbery, and other crimes of violence. And you will deliver them secretly behind enemy lines in France to undertake a mission of sabotage that could change the course of the war. The 12 men will be known as the Dirty Dozen.
Lee Marvin as Major John Reisman.
There's a little of Major Reisman in every man, says Marvin. Tough and unyielding, yet compassionate. I think it's the best role I've ever been asked to play.
You've all volunteered for a mission which gives you just 3 ways to go. Either you can foul up in training and be shipped back here for immediate execution of sentence, or you can foul up in combat, in which case I will personally blow your brains out, or you can do as you're told, in which case you might just get by.
Now you hold it right there. This war was not started for your private gratification, and you can be damn sure that this army isn't being run for your personal convenience either.
Ernest Borgnine as General Warden.
I'm tired of seeing generals portrayed as desk-bound pen pushers, says Borgnine. So I've played Warden as a rough professional soldier.
Robert Ryan as Colonel Everett Dasher Breed.
There were officers like Breed, says Ryan, who could never suffer the rules broken or even bend a little.
Major Reisman's compliments, sir. You prefer to be captured or destroyed?
Jimmy Brown as Napoleon Jefferson.
Jefferson is any man fighting for recognition against the odds, says Brown. I think I understand him pretty well.
The hell is...
John Cassavetes as Victor Franco.
Says Cassavetes. Franco is a petty hoodlum forced to heroism by circumstances beyond his control.
We go on that mission, we all get killed. That's what they want! That's what they want!
Trini Lopez as Jimenez.
He's crawling with hate.
Charles Bronson as Vladislav.
The last guy in the world you'd expect to be a hero.
Telly Savalas as Archer Maggot.
Maggot is a maniac, says Savalas. His religious fanaticism can never be moderated or quelled. It is a constant danger.
Clint Walker as Samson Posey.
An Indian with war paint smeared on his soul. Train them. Excite them. Arm them.
And turn them loose on the Nazi High Command.
it is apparently the star Lee Marvin didn't like the movie because it really wasn't a war movie. He said it has the features of a war movie, but it's not really. It's just basically boys playing war. And getting shot at the end. But it's
as you do,
as much as a war movie as any of the Indiana Jones movies are. So I'll give him that. But Donald Sutherland plays a kind of secondary character. He isn't mentioned on the poster. He wasn't
because he's not armed him. He's not exciting him, and he's not turned loose on the Nazis.
But he does get to impersonate a general. Basically a base that they visit, and gives a talking down to the staff there, and it is a hilarious moment. It really makes him stand out. It's of course a great story about all these convicted felons in the military who are basically given the opportunity to volunteer for this death mission to visit a chateau in Germany and kill Nazis. And that's basically it. And we go with them on their journey, which is not an easy one, but it is a lot of fun because it's always fun to do that kind of thing, to play war. It's an all-star cast. As I mentioned, Lee Marvin, Ernest Borgnine, Charles Bronson, John Cassavetes, Jim Brown, Richard Jekyll, George Kennedy, and yes, Trini Lopez, who sings a song. And it's really a lot of fun, and I love it. And it is a good companion piece to another movie that came out at around the same time. But I'll leave that to someone else. But,
can I change my vote from MGM Week 3 weeks ago, since I didn't know the Dirty Dozen would be returning to the countdown so soon? I picked the Dirty Dozen 3 weeks ago, but I now want to change it to North by Northwest because I as much as I love the Dirty Dozen, we don't need it twice in the same season.
Yes, we do. It's great. And this isn't about the Dirty Dozen. It's about Donald Sutherland and his great performance in it.
He is so great in that scene. Yeah, because he's a little duller. He's a little bit of a dullard, right? You know, so when he has to
we think he is.
Yeah. And he is real
plays
psychopath.
That role. Yeah.
And he has to pretend to be the general, and he really revels in that. It's a great
he
that too. He is great. Great Raleigh, whatever. He
revels in Raleigh. He rallies in Revel.
I think I'm ahead of my time with these pronunciations, but I think that
keep thinking
he's so good in it.
He's so good. In it. Look, I know you picked it 3 weeks ago. I don't care because it's a great performance by him, and that's what I'm concentrating on.
And he's going to pick it next week for Jim Brown week.
I may,
and then for Telly Savalas week, and Lee Marvin week.
Yeah,
it's going to be on the whole.
That's Who Loves You Baby week.
Who Loves You Baby week. That's right. I'm going to pick.
And then the week after that for movies about numbers.
That's right.
A movie about dirt.
It's Baker's Dozen week on the 4:30 movie.
The Clean 11.
Did we say who would be the Muppet version of the Dirty Dozen?
Lee
Marvin and a bunch of Muppets. Let's not say we did. Okay.
I think we can close our eyes and imagine, and that is fine.
You can never go wrong with the Dirty Dozen. Now, I wonder if Ashley is going to pick...
But Fozzie is Telly Savalas.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that.
Without the hat.
I could see that. Ernest Borgnine week. That could be, Ernie. I know Ernie wasn't a Muppet. He was a Sesame Street. But...
Ebert.
But he could be Ernest Borgnine. Ernie would be a good Ernest Borgnine.
Yeah. I love the scene where Bert and Ernie ride down into that Mexican village, and
yeah.
But then Bert could be Robert Ryan in that, because he was always a little stiff, Anyway, let's not go down that rabbit hole. But what I do want to go down that rabbit hole is where we're going to go on Wednesday with Ashley Edward Miller.
What about Wednesday?
Man, this is really, really, really difficult for me, because look, my pick, anybody who knows me even a little bit should know that there's a Donald Sutherland movie that is easily in like my top 5 favorite films of all effing time. And it was a movie that I really enjoyed watching with my dad. It's like one of my great memories of just kind of anytime that movie was on, sitting down and watching with him. And I've picked it before, and part of me wants to save it to propose it for Friday. But I know there is another movie. It's funny because Darren, I was sitting here and I was trying to figure out what you were suggesting with the adjacent war movie, and I realized it's not the movie that I'm thinking about. It's another movie entirely. Okay, you know what? Screw it, man. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick the movie. It's not out of the box. I don't give a shit. I'm going to go out of the box by being inside of my box and being true to myself.
It's a great effing movie, and I love it too.
Exactly. It's like it is. Like I said, it's one of my very favorite movies of all time. It would also fit very neatly into a Clint Eastwood week, into a Brian Hutton week, and it is 1970s Kelly's Heroes.
Mm-hmm. Kelly! What the hell are you doing here?
Looking after the colonel, that's what.
Shoot him and let's get the hell out of here.
Shoot him, we don't get the gold.
What gold?
Proposition. Thought you might be interested in helping me out.
Oh.
I want you to set up a barrage for me.
Yeah.
If you whisper one word about the gold to these guys, I'm gonna have you bounce from this outfit so fast your feet won't even touch the ground.
Okay, Kelly. What is it? I want the intelligence reports for this whole sector, and I need them in the next 2 hours.
That's nice. What's in it for me?
It's behind enemy lines.
I got 3 Shermans outside.
His name's Oddball.
A Sherman can give you a very nice edge. These are my boys. It's still up. No, it ain't.
Look, baby, I'm kind of hung up. I need about 60 feet of bridge.
Listen, kid, they haven't got your back in a nut wart again, have they?
I don't need you. 60 feet of bridge I can pick up almost anywhere. Schmuck.
All right. I need at least 100 guys. Where do I find 100 men just like that?
Loud call better show up, Kelly.
Come on, let's move it up.
But my hair is still in curls.
Oh, shut up, get out. Watch your head with this thing. Hey, nobody said anything about schlepping his 30 caliber machine gun all over the country. I'll make you $50 if you carry the machine gun, huh?
Fire! Fire! I thought you said 3 Shermans. Those nuts have brought half the army with them.
What is this? Oh, what is this, a ball game? Who are these guys?
My friends, okay?
And who's that bunch of refugees over there?
The band.
The band? What do we need a band for?
Come on, little paint shop. Gang that beautiful people.
Yeah, I figured you were going to go there. You picked that before, but
yes,
it is Donald Sutherland.
That's the one I was talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there was another one, so we'll leave that and we'll kind of maybe talk about that one on Friday. But for those of you who have not seen Kelly's Heroes, it's a delight. It is a war movie in the same sense that The Dirty Dozen is a war movie. Really, it's an adventure. It's a comedy adventure. It's it's about a bunch of wacky guys who get word about the Germans stealing a bunch of gold from a vault in a little town. And they decide that they want to get to this little town and get this money before the Allied forces liberate this town, so they can get away with all the cash. It is just, it's glorious. It is, it's Clint Eastwood, it's Don Rickles, it's Donald Sutherland in a iconic. And you know what? I'm not afraid of using that word in this context, in this podcast, in front of Mark Altman, because I do believe that Donald Sutherland as Oddball, I almost said Odd Job, which would be a totally different film. He has the little hat and he throws it. As Oddball is just, it's iconic. It's a Mother Beautiful role, and it's, he is unhinged in the most laid back way that you can possibly imagine as Oddball, who is the commander of a tank and a company of tanks. He likes to play, music as he rolls into battle. He's a smart enough tank commander that he doesn't like to get locked up with no tigers. He's just, and
he knows how to get out of trouble faster than he got into it.
That's yes, he does.
Reverse gear is faster than the forward gear.
And he is so proud of it. He's like a hippie who is 20 years ahead of his time. He has the best lines in the movie. In some ways, he is the perfect foil for Clint Eastwood in that film, because Clint Eastwood is absolutely the straight man, and he's got Donald Sutherland on his left, he's got Don Rickles on his right, and the three of them
he's stuck in the middle with you.
Comedy triangle. Stuck in the middle with them. Exactly. And it has a great closing end title sequence where you're watching the titles go and there's all the credits, and it's Mike Curb Congregation, Burning Bridges, and it's fantastic. And it's none of the choices that are made in that film feel like anything I think that had been seen before in a movie like that, in a World War II movie. It was just different, even from, frankly, how it opens. With capturing this German officer and questioning him, and he's the wrong officer, which is, of course, what puts them onto the story. But the way that Brian Hutton does the opening credits, he does the opening titles. He has the cool song playing as they're following the Jeep. Things are happening in the scene. It tells you immediately that it's a different kind of film. It's a different kind of World War II adventure. Brian Hutton, one of the great journeyman directors of that era. And I think he also did Where Eagles Dare. Mm-hmm. It's just, you cannot go wrong with this film. There's a terrific scene in the middle where they have to cross a minefield. And it's just everything in this movie. There's not a false note in this movie. Carol Connor is in it as I think good Lord, is he playing Eisenhower?
He's not specifically. He plays
but he's
general,
basically
though.
playing. Yeah, he's the general who is essentially Eisenhower, and he's glorious. He's in maybe 3 minutes of the film, but he's fantastic. It's just the highest possible recommendation from Ashley. If you don't like it, I don't want to know you.
And I revisited this movie the night the news broke about Sutherland's death. I put it on to watch it, and I always forget that Gavin MacLeod is in it, and Harry Dean Stanton. I mean, what a
Captain Stubing of the Love Boat. Yes. I just want to say, because we assume people know this stuff when we mention it,
but they don't.
Yeah.
And there's that great scene towards the end when they go to confront the German tank commander, and Eastwood, Savalas, and Sutherland step out. It's almost like the Wild Bunch. They're shoulder to shoulder. It's so cool, and this movie's so goofy, but it's got that great heroic moment.
And Brian Hutton shoots it like a Sergio Leone, spaghetti western, like with the close-ups, with kind of going to the guns going to the eyes. It's like and then all of a sudden they're negotiating. Maybe he's a Republican. It's fantastic.
And let's not forget, as he never lets anyone forget, that as the production assistant on the film was John Landis.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Or by Lalo Schifrin.
Right?
The great Lalo Schifrin.
Lalo.
I think if I was going to pick anyone, I would have guessed that you were going to say Kelly's Heroes. But, you're I don't blame you, because it's one of those movies that's in your top 10 that you love and adore. And it means so much. You used to watch it with your dad. So, of course, why wouldn't you pick it? So a great pick,
There's
obviously.
nothing wrong with that. What would you think?
Not at all.
Wrong with that?
There is nothing wrong with it. Nothing at all. I'm just saying.
I'm not going out of it.
It was predictable today. It was predictable.
Enough of the negative waves, man.
It's perfect pick. It's rare, but it happens.
Yeah.
It's just like if we were doing 1984 week, we know we'd pick Cloak and Dagger. That's all I'm saying.
Solidly inside the box.
Yeah, no. Great. It's a great pick. It's obviously a great pick. So, which of course then brings us to Thursday. Now, let me tell you, gentlemen, there are a couple of films I'm not going to pick. I'm not going to pick Eye of the Needle, because if Eye of the Needle hadn't been made, George Lucas would not have hired Richard Marquand to direct Jedi. We would live in a better world. So I'm not going to.
Let me stop. I watched Eye of the Needle the other night. I'd actually never seen it. And I saw that it was on Amazon Prime or something. So I checked it out. It's not bad. It's fine. It's a pretty good little movie.
Yeah, it's fine. I wouldn't have hired him to, direct the third film in the biggest trilogy of all time.
George wanted the best director that he could get.
That would do what he said. No, I mean,
it wasn't DGA.
That's an interesting movie because Sutherland plays the villain in that.
Yeah.
He's a Nazi spy deep undercover in England who discovers the deception related to the Normandy invasion, and it's kind of about him trying to get his intel back to German high command. And he's just a brutal killer. I mean, he's just evil in that movie.
Yeah, I'm not going to pick Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which is a film we watched to honor Sutherland. I showed it to Naomi, and I showed it to Isaac for the first time, the remake, the 78 remake the other day, which he loved, not just for Sutherland, but Leonard Nimoy. But I recently picked that for San Francisco Week, for We Left Our Heart in San Francisco Week. So I don't want to repeat that, even though I think Donald Sutherland is sensational in that film. And I think it's a great film, beautifully directed by Philip Kaufman.
Well, and almost every obituary for Sutherland use that still
photo
of him at the end of Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
Which chilling.
Spoiler alert. Yeah. I'm not going to pick Ordinary People because I had an ex-girlfriend who forced me to watch it because she said, now you will understand my family and why I'm so effed up. And I'm like, well, at least she was self-aware.
But
when
people tell you who they are, believe them.
Yeah. And so I forced me to watch Ordinary People, which is obviously a good film. I couldn't really relate to it, but he's great in it. It won Best Picture, Robert Redford's first film as a director. It's good. It wouldn't be my pick.
Good movie.
Good movie. But again, you talk about never the Oscar bride. I think Mary Tyler Moore got nominated, but Donald Sutherland didn't, right?
No, and he should for that film. He should have been nominated. For Don't Look Now, he should have been nominated.
And Tim Hutton won.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's
and he
right.
didn't even get nominated. Sutherland didn't even get nominated.
Yeah.
Crazy.
A film that I could have easily picked, but it's a TV movie, so it doesn't qualify under our rules, is Citizen X. It was one of those early HBO TV movies in which he played Colonel Mikhail Festov, who was investigating a serial killer in the Soviet Union. That's a great film. There are a couple of these early HBO films that most people don't know because I think they aired in 133. I'm not sure if they did, but I know it's like Citizen X, Doomsday Gun, Barbarians at the Gate.
One of my favorites, Citizen Cone, about Roy Cohn with it's terrific.
They're great, and they're kind of lost to like the sands of time. They don't really, even when you get to recount some of the later stuff, but I love Citizen X, and he's so great in it. It's a great cast. And Joss Ackland, who we all loved in the 80s and early 90s, he was in everything he's terrific. And Stephen Ray from The Crying Game is in it, who's terrific too. But it was a TV movie, so I don't think that qualifies, but I want to say it's probably on Max. So if you're trying to do like a Donald Sutherland marathon, you should check it out because he's great in that.
And he did win an Emmy for that performance.
What he's not great in is the original Buffy, which is as bad as the TV series is good. But I think it's inevitable that I would pick from one Altman to another a film from Robert Altman, the great 1970 black comedy MASH.
A United States Army field hospital somewhere near the front lines.
Check this place out. See what the nurses are like.
That one, the sultry bitch with the fire in her eyes.
Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war.
Who are those men? Friends of yours, Murdoch?
I think you will find these accommodating. They're quite dry.
Don't you use olives?
We do have to make certain concessions to the war. We're 3 miles from the front line.
This is the story of two indispensable military surgeons. They had the army over a barrel. But did they take advantage of it? Yes. MASH, a motion picture that raises some important moral questions. And then it drops them.
What are you two hoodlums doing in this hospital?
Well, what's the matter with her today?
Look, Mother, I want to go to work in 1 hour. We are the pros from Dover.
Somebody get that dirty old man out of this operating theater.
And then give me at least one nurse who knows how to work in close without getting her tits in my way.
I wonder how a degenerated person like that could have reached a position of responsibility in the Army Medical Corps.
He was drafted.
Because as we know, suicide is painless. It brings on many changes.
I can take it or leave it if I please.
But, he's so good as Hawkeye Pierce. And I think this is a film that often gets overlooked because of the popularity of the subsequent TV series, which was also great as well. And the original MASH is surprisingly very vignette-y. People forget that it's not, it's not like it has this like really coherent narrative. No. But him and Elliot Gould and Sally Kellerman, who got incredible Esper powers. It was really weird. It's just such a remarkable, it's such a great movie. It's so brilliantly shot like a documentary. And this is when, so that documentary style was not often used for narrative motion pictures. And of course, John Schuck, he was undercover from the Klingon Empire.
And René Auberjonois.
René Auberjonois, who's terrific in the William Christopher role. Later on, William Christopher played Father Mulcahy. Father Time. I'm Father Mulcahy, yeah. And it's just, and Sutherland is great as this, anarchist kind of doctor who's really good at what he did, but didn't believe in following the rules. Just everything in that movie sort of comes together. And then it becomes a sports movie. We may have picked it for Sports Week. I don't know. But I love MASH. I rewatched it a couple of months ago, not knowing that Donald Sutherland was going to pass away. And it just reminded me what a terrific film it is. And that's my pick that is my pick for Thursday. And
solid one.
I'm surprised that you didn't pick, since we're rolling into Friday. Mark, I vaguely thought you might pick The $1 Billion Brain. Now, maybe it's because he's not a big enough presence in it. But.
That's right. That's exactly right. It's not a significant enough role in $1 Billion Brain. Like I said, if I hadn't picked Body Snatchers recently, that would totally be in the running. I will tell you, like you say, we roll on the Friday, the one film I really struggled with, and this would be my pick for Friday, and he's only in one scene, but he steals the movie.
This might have been my Wednesday alternate.
Is JFK, which...
Oh, no, that's not my alternate.
Oh, yeah, because I would say, you're going to go with Animal House. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's so good in JFK. And JFK is the most ridiculous, absurd bit of nonsense from Oliver Stone.
Right.
And it is such a compelling,
but it's the most quoted scene from that movie.
Yeah, and it's I love everything about that movie. I don't believe an iota of it, but I love everything about it.
If I answer that question you keep asking, if I give you the name of the big enchilada, then it's Bon Voyage Dino. I mean like permanent. I mean like a bullet in my head, you dig? Does that help you see my problem a little better?
Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a flash of light in the bushes, and then shots rang out.
No cloak and dagger stuff, They call it Operation Mongoose.
It's gonna be okay, Dave. You just talk to us on the record and we'll protect you. Now, I guarantee it.
You're so naive.
We found this in your office. We think the conference room is also bugged, maybe the phones.
I'm not cooperating here. Listen, there's a death warrant for me.
Are the same people gonna kill us, Pop?
Nobody's gonna kill us. Y'all gotta get into your minds how the hell the spooks think. Now, they're not ordinary crooks. Think the unthinkable. Question everything. Now, we're through the looking glass here, people. White is black, and black is white. You don't believe me? All this time, you never believed me.
I just want
raise our children and live a normal life. I want my life back.
Look, this thing's bigger than all of us.
Now, how many corpses is it going to take for you lawyers to figure out what you want?
People got to know. People got to know why he was killed.
Do you know what you done to me? I'm a dead man!
Well, if they can kill the president, they can certainly get me.
You're a mouse fighting a gorilla.
You're close. You're closer than you think.
There's going to be an attempt to kill you somewhere between here and New Orleans. I say let justice be done, though the heavens fall.
And as much as I love that movie, the scene on the park bench where he sits with Kevin Costner.
Life is like a box of chocolates.
and
not
sort
that park bench.
Outlines the conspiracy as Mr. X.
Yeah.
Mr. X. It's so
X.
good. That monologue is one of the great monologues in the history of cinema.
Yeah.
And the cutting and everything about it, the writing, he is compelling. I don't often go back and watch movies where I'm not going to watch the whole film, but that's one where I could literally just go to that chapter and watch that scene and be like, okay, I'm done. I'll come back. And not that I don't love JFK, I do, but that scene is just so great.
He literally steals
small,
the movie. Yeah.
It's like a short film within the film. It just kind of stands up narratively on its own, and it's truly great. And yes, I thought you were going for Animal House. And the reason why I was thinking about it for Wednesday is it's a very small part. But what I love about him in that movie, or what I love about that movie as a pick for Donald Sutherland week, is that in spite of the size of his part, it's indelible. You remember it. You remember him as that cool professor who just wants to bang co-eds, right? And hang out and be cool and smoke pot. And for a role that is almost a throwaway, it's not a throwaway. But he just establishes a presence there. And that's something that he does in every film he appears in.
I'm saving it for Fawn Leibowitz week. May she rest in peace after that terrible kiln explosion.
But it's not as small a role as he had in Kentucky Fried Movie.
Oh my God, dude!
And Donald Sutherland as the clumsy waiter. It's hilarious.
Yes, it is. Kentucky Fried Movie is amazing.
Again, Landis, and he hits it out of the park.
Can I make an admission? No. A lot of people I'll shut up now. Well, but after he passed away, a lot of people were talking about what a tour de force he gave in this next movie. I don't even remember it, to be honest. Maybe you guys can articulate it better. But everyone was talking about him in Backdraft. I don't remember that movie at all.
I don't either. I remember the movie. But I don't.
Yeah.
It didn't really make an impression.
I'm not sure I remember the movie. I mean, I remember watching the movie.
I think it's Ron Howard. I think it's just playing.
Yeah, it's Ron Howard.
Fighting fires, and there's a.
The only one I remember from that is Bob De Niro.
Yeah, me too. That's all I remember. I remember De Niro, the fires, and the attraction at Universal.
Yeah.
The Backdraft.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I remember the ride better than I remember the movie.
It's a shame.
Sad.
Yeah, I just like to point out his character in that movie. Was he the villain?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. No, I think he was like the patriarch, wasn't he? Or am I wrong? No,
I think
he was... that's the problem with this pick. We're not capable of picking it for Friday because we can't even have a factual.
No, Steve's going to tell us the picture that should be Friday, right?
Give
Steve, tell us, Steve. Tell us, Steve. Tell us, Steve. What should Friday be? Because you have something that we haven't mentioned yet that clearly, if it's not JFK, should be the pick.
Well, there's a couple big ones that we haven't discussed. Probably the biggest one is probably his biggest hit, which would be the Hunger Games. He was the president.
All the Hunger Games movies.
In all the Hunger Games movies, and those were hugely successful, and he was a big part of those.
And
I'm satiated on those. I'm satiated. I don't need any more Hunger Games. He's great in all of them, but it's like, I think I think the first two movies are really good, but I would not. This is not like if we're honoring Donald Sutherland, it's like, to me, it's like you don't go with the Hunger Games.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're popular. They were popular, and he was a big presence.
And there's something for the younger set.
But the one I was going to mention that we haven't talked about was, of course, one of his great dramatic roles opposite Jane Fonda.
There you go.
Alan J. Pakula's Clute from 1971.
Something.
1971.
My only problem with Clute is I look at him. Is that Clute? Is it Clutty? I don't know. No, it's a great film. I just like to point out that as long as we're in the land of, okay, here's stuff you're not thinking about with Donald Sutherland. He plays Homer Simpson in Day of the Locust.
Yeah.
Right? Which is fantastic and bananas and totally bonkers, which is what would have made it a great Wednesday pick. But again, emotions and adoration for certain other films get in the way. But Clute is great, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, and I love Pakula. And Pakula is like one of these guys like Sidney Lumet now, who doesn't get the love that he deserves.
Yeah.
And Pakula was really great. I mean, obviously, never greater than All the President's Men. But and now Presumed Innocent, I guess, is getting all this attention now because of the TV show.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but yeah, I think, obviously Clute is a sort of seminal movie in his filmography. He's great in it. I haven't watched it in a long time.
I like Clute because of the 3 different endings they had.
Oh,
no, wait,
geez.
that's
man, we're not doing Martin. We're not doing Martin Mull week. Although we probably should do Martin Mull week. Poor Martin Mull. He was so great. Although a lot of Martin Mull stuff is also great on television.
Yes,
he had so many of these roles where he came and stole like Arrested Development and Veep and all these shows. Also, 1900, Steve, the Bertolucci film.
Yeah, that's one I haven't seen in 30 years, probably.
In 100 years, 124
124. And there's another one from Revolution, the Al Pacino movie directed by Hugh Hudson from 1985. Sutherland plays, I think, the nominal villain in that, and he's terrific in that too. They recently, Pacino actually recently supervised a new edit of the film that was then re-released. They show a director's cut, and I got to see that at the Aero, the Cinematheque last year.
How was that?
It was great. I'd heard of the movie. It kind of derailed Pacino's career for a time. It was a notorious flop, and he didn't do anything for several years until Son of a Woman. But Pacino was there. He did a Q&A, and it was kind of hilarious. Like he entered the theater from the front, like near the screen, and he walked down the aisle, and he was giving high fives to everybody, and he's dressed like a homeless man. So it was crazy.
We declare our independence for the United States of America. Hooah!
Hooah! And he does this crazy like Creole accent in the movie. It's nuts. But Sutherland plays a British officer in it. And he's terrific.
Lest we forget Sutherland's capability for playing really crazy military guys. 1995's Outbreak that I worked on. He is a crazy general who basically wants to nuke a small town because they are coughing all over the place.
It's those Canadians.
Yeah, those crazy Canadians.
And he was also in the remake of Salem's Lot, wasn't he?
Was he? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes, he was.
He was the parking monitor.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, Space Cowboys, again with the Clint Eastwood.
Some people called him Maurice.
They did not.
Well, my pick would be for JFK because this just shows him carrying a movie on his back, stealing an entire movie.
Yeah, for 5 minutes.
People all remember that, and just the fact that he could memorize that whole scene.
Oh my God, dude!
He's so good in that movie.
Follow the money. They paid him enough. So
he's scary, but at the same time, he's
very calm, and that's why he's scary.
Accessible, yeah, exactly. It's
totally,
it's a great performance. And I was, looking at his filmography, and I think the problem we face on Friday is that the man was in so many films, and the things that we remember him for are very often, with some exceptions that we talked about.
Moments.
They're little moments. The films themselves aren't as notable as what he does in them. And I think that JFK may be the best expression of that. I mean, like, I'm like Mark. I love JFK in spite of the fact that I think it's absolutely
it's batshit crazy,
ridiculous.
Yes.
But it's great.
But it's fun.
And he's terrific in it. And if you just can find that scene and watch it, you'll love it. And you don't need any other setup. You just go, oh, he's a great actor.
It's kind of right in the middle of the movie, as I recall.
Yeah,
it's about
I'll
15
tell you-
minutes.
It's the midpoint.
Yeah.
Right at the intermission, I'll tell you a funny story that no one else could tell. So my father ran into Oliver Stone at the Democratic convention right when Clinton was up for re-election. It was like after the movie came out, right? And he was talking to Oliver Stone and he said, I love the movie, but it's just total bullshit. And my dad, swear to God, he said, and Oliver Stone said, yeah, I know. And it was like, really? He said that, Dad? He swears to me that's what he told him.
Wow.
So
that's a good story. I like that.
Because now he says, oh my God, people don't believe me, but I back it up with the books, the conspiracy theory. But my dad said when he met Oliver Stone and he called him, he's just like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, that was the same conversation my dad had with him about The Hand. That movie was bullshit. Yeah, I know.
Oh, look.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I have
the book of the film.
How was Donald Sutherland's performance in the book of the film?
The documented annotated screenplay for JFK.
Oh my gosh.
Where he backs up every assertion in the film with documentary evidence of some kind.
Yeah,
man. It is a fascinating movie. It is like just the filmmaking on display, the editing, the cinematography.
I love that movie. It's one of the best films
It's one of
the 90s.
the shortest 3-hour movies you'll ever watch.
100%.
Now, if we're going to do just like a Rolling Stone week next week, I don't want to pick it, but if we're not doing Oliver Stone week anytime soon, I would argue vehemently for JFK on Friday. But, like you said, there's Clute, there's Ordinary People. There are other significant films in his oeuvre.
I think none are more memorable than his tiny part in JFK. And I think that says so much.
What do you guys think?
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a there are no small parts. I mean, he looms large in the film. He's a huge presence in it, and he ties the film together, man.
Yeah. Just like the dude's rug. But, I think we've talked about, Ned Beatty, steals, a network, that great 5-minute monologue. But to me, it doesn't get any better than Donald Sutherland and JFK. Yeah. And I love that Ned Beatty monologue in
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
UBS is going to open a bureau in Australia. No, he doesn't say that. You want to see a long arm? Okay. Well, look, it sounds like we got a week. And of course, if you want to dispute it with us or engage in some discourse, they can join us on Discord and tell us what you can join us to let us share your thoughts about what we may have not programmed or should have programmed, or why you love Clute, or why we should have gone back to the well and invasion of the body snatchers.
And we haven't picked any of the things that they suggested in our Discord.
That's right. Screw you guys.
Shame on us. We don't like being told what to do.
Far.
No, I don't like
that. The 4:30 movie.
Don't tell us how to do it.
It sickens us. Sabotage, rally, whatever.
Sabotage.
Yeah.
Revel.
The model kit.
Are ended, Kirk.
Like the model kit. So, okay. So anyway, if you will, why don't you take us through a week of Donald Sutherland movies? On Monday, Steve Melching.
Donald Sutherland is sad and horny in Nicholas Roeg's Don't Look Now.
On Tuesday, Darren Docterman.
Donald Sutherland is the quietest and best adjusted member of the Dirty Dozen.
On Wednesday, Ashley Edward Miller.
On Wednesday, Donald Sutherland, Don Rickles, Clint Eastwood, Telly Savalas, and of all people, Captain Merrill Steubing. Go for the gold. in reverse over another beautiful bridge. In Brian Hutton's 1970 comedy World War II action adventure epic, Ellie's Hero.
And on Thursday, Donald Sutherland is operating, and what an operator he is in MASH. And on Friday, three letters loom large, JFK.
Right.
What a week. Boy, if people don't know the work of Donald Sutherland, they could just watch these 5 films and just see.
I believe he only did war movies.
And they can revel in the discovery.
Wow. Harsh. That's lovely. Well, we're going to be taking another hiatus, but you'll have plenty of time to catch up on the episodes so far this season. Again, the season is not over. There's just a lot of traveling going on. We got the Comic-Con coming up. Daren's going to be with Shatner at Ticonderoga. He's going to be reenacted the plot of Revolution at Fort Ticonderoga. He's going to be in Raleigh for GalaxyCon. He has some really great stuff he's cooking up for you fans in Raleigh. So you don't want to mention that huge GalaxyCon that's coming up at the end of the month. Ashley and I are going to be at Comic-Con, and we'll also be in Vegas for the big Star Trek Las Vegas event. You don't want to miss that, because there's some really special stuff that's going to be going down, and lots more. So join us. And then, of course, we'll be back in a couple of weeks as we finish off the season of the 4:30 movie. Hopefully no one else will die. We won't have to do any more of these memorial episodes. But you never know. So stay tuned and find out who's passed away. But no, look, Donald Sutherland, unfortunately, too young. I mean, he always looked perpetually old, but
he was always middle-aged. He always seemed middle-aged
in that way.
But I was still shocked and very. I remember when I opened up the Hollywood Reporter deadline, says Donald Sutherland has passed away. I was really sad. He's like one of those people. It's just like, we grew up on his movies, and I remember I was at a premiere of one of the Hunger Games movies, and I was so excited. He sat behind us, and it was just like, oh, it's Donald Sutherland. My wife and I were like both so like, it was like being in the presence of royalty. It was like really cool. And I mean, I know we didn't spend much time on the Hunger Games movies, but especially those early movies, they're really good, and he's really, really good in them.
Yeah,
as he was in most things.
Yes,
that's
great.
So anyway. I think that's about it, but you want to continue the conversation, do it on the Discord channel. Link is in the show notes, or you can visit us on social media at 430 Movie Pod, on all your favorite social channels. So, other than that, we hope you're having a great summer. We hope you're watching a lot of great movies. Maybe at the end of the summer, we'll wrap up with a look back at some of these summer movies like Furiosa and, Inside Out 2, The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and stuff. Lots to unpack. Season, it started slow, but it seems summer's picking up. People are going back to the movies. That's a good thing for all of us. It's good for you. It's good for us. And if you've been to Original Italian in New York, let me know what you think, because I thought it was just sensational. So on that note, it's been delightful being with all of you, but now it's time to go. And so on behalf of Ashley Edward Miller, Jerry Docterman, Steve Melching, myself, Mark A. Altman, Eyewitness News starts now.